What's your experience with ultra-rich people that shocked you? I used to service the mentions of this super rich family. The parents who made the family rich were super down to earth. They had a mansion, but I always saw the mom cleaning and doing laundry, drove Toyota hybrids. The kids had their own mansion and had full-time workers in their house cleaning and nannies and super nice cars that I don't even know the names of. I felt more comfortable going to the parents' house because they were so down to earth and loved coming out to greet me and talk to me for a bit while I worked. The mom was so sweet, always frazzled and excited to have someone to talk to about laundry or cleaning. Went to a billionaire's son's B-day party and everyone was multi-millionaires billionaires other than my one friend and I who usually don't have more than 3,000 in their account at a time. The father ended up coming home and let me try on his 15K snake boots, which were the most comfortable things I have ever put on my feet. Also, theater, multiple pools and hot tubs, 10-car garage and a war room. My friend and I felt super out of place, but everyone was very friendly and welcoming of our poor asses being there. Not that this was the prompt, but I've noticed that foreign rich people, especially younger ones, have the worst, most condescending attitude about things. Americans might be spoiled in terms of wanting more, but they will still do much of their own chores and see independence as a virtue. Kids from Middle Eastern wealth or Eastern European wealth literally expected to treat their roommates like servants in college, and would be mad that I didn't do things like their laundry or organize their homework. Like hell no dude. Then they try to buy off women at clubs. Made me sick, but also weirdly prouder of American work ethic. He bought an acre next to him home and built a full-sized mechanics garage that looks like a barn. Had a Mennonite guy design it like one of their barns. Has room for his 8-ish cars with a lift and everything. He lets me do oil changes on my 16-year-old F-150. I grew up dirt poor in a trailer park, so I had a lot of assumptions about ultra-rich people. As an adult, working with the ultra-rich in various ways professionally, I discovered a lot of these negative assumptions and stereotypes were absolutely true, and most of the people I met were pretty rude and generally out of touch with the reality most of us in the lower classes are living. However, what was shocking was realizing that the level of distrust that many ultra-rich people seem to have with others is because they are almost 100% of the time being used for their money and their connections. They have developed a whole skill set and complex social system around protecting their assets from distant relatives, friends, neighbors, random people looking to get ahead somehow. This is why they prefer to only socialize with other rich people, and I don't blame them one bit. Dude bought the entire visible coastline of the opposite country across the bay water from his beach house, so no one could develop it and spoil his view. A friend slept with a very rich doctor. When she was drunk, she told him that she owed her parents a lot of money, I mean a lot, and that she was saving money to pay them. The next morning he gave the amount she owed to her parents as a gift. Friend managed a lodge at an exclusive hunting lodge. Only 12 members max allowed. We're talking very, very old money. Heirs of unseemly wealth. I won't divulge specifics, but it was incredible how little they could do for themselves. My friend and her husband, who were basically caretakers of the land and lodge, were run ragged. Not maliciously. These folks were just mewling octogenarian infants who came to aim guns and feebly cast a line several times here. One funny thing, they loved her lasagna unanimously and unambiguously. They couldn't get enough of it. They didn't know it was Stouffer's frozen. She usually made their 3-meal stay from scratch, but had an issue one day and threw the lasagna in out of desperation. Heated up a loaf of Cole's garlic bread on the side, threw a salad together. It became a requirement. Even the folks with strict dietary demands loved it. She kept her recipe a secret from them. What there I don't need to think about its spending level is everyone has I don't need to think about its spending level. It may be a very small number, but it exists. That number then grows as you earn more, but the rich? That level is easily tens of thousands of dollars. I come from a rural area, so I've met quite a few people with chicken farm money or blue-collar millionaires. The ultra-wealthy in rural areas, you would never know it other than they tend to have nicer houses, but nothing over the top. My father-in-law is in this category, and still drives his '93 Bronco that he's kept in pristine condition since paying it off. He's never driven the Corvette sitting in his garage in public, he just has it because he likes them. Of course, most of them have Sunday trucks, really nice 100,000 trucks that aren't meant to really do work. I will say that in my experience, the number type of guns you own directly correlates to your wealth in the country. When my FIL built his mountain house, the first thing he included was a hidden safe room for all his guns behind a fake bookcase. I worked for a billionaire who drove a Mazda and wore blue jeans. He was a nice guy too. The husband is a sales douche who can't fully turn off the sales personality, but the wife is a genuinely kind and thoughtful person. She gives way too much of her time to other people and seems to emotionally exhaust herself. One time, I was at a birthday party at a restaurant, and ultra-rich wife drove herself there to personally deliver a really thoughtful gift. She could only stay for 5 minutes and seemed rushed and stressed, but it made a big impression on me that she cared enough. They don't always pick the most expensive option. They pick the best, most effective option. They consistently go for the most bang for the buck. For me, about half of them are aware that they are fortunate and are humble and grateful. The other half are ignorant and selfish. I knew someone who was the personal driver of some CEO. Once a month, he was sent to Bloomingdale's to buy 30 pair of socks and underwear. The CEO dude wore them once and threw them out. That they are just normal people who happen to have money. The money often turns them into jerks, but the reality is they are still just like us. They have quirks, unique hobbies, interests, and passions. We all love to bash on the ultra-rich, and good reason. Their wealth accumulation is the product of so many broken lives worked to the bone with little reward. But sometimes it's good to remember they are just people with all the same flaws and frailties as the rest of us. I work for an old money family where I'm from. They told me they had a good friend that was super into fitness, and that his kids love skiing. Sounds normal, right? No, this guy literally built an entire ski slope and private ski instructor area for them to practice skiing in. When I was in high school, the school canceled recess once because the heliport of the rich guy that had donated the school stadium had some problem, and he needed a big place to land. The school was close enough to his house. My husband was in an occupation where he would frequently meet royalty like dukes, princesses, etc., or just wealthy people from various countries. Very occasionally he'd encounter the classic stuck-up rich stereotype who would scoff at anything not made of crystal or platinum. But by and large, the ultra-rich people were incredibly polite and generous. And as they should be. He owned 11 acres in the middle of downtown Tuscaloosa. He fenced it and planted it all in corn and a vegetable garden with a fishing pond in the middle of it next to the 3-room house that had belonged to his father. He lived there and kept an old Coca-Cola chest cooler on the front porch stocked with cold sodas for the neighborhood kids. Coolest guy ever.